All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about cover letters and resumes. These are things that you are going to be filling out potentially. As you know, Ms. Fletcher said, you can hand them to teachers in order to help them write letters of recommendation for you if you want a job, an internship, whatever. You're going to be using resumes, and it's something that you're going to be using for your entire careers. I still use, I don't technically use a resume anymore. I use something called a CV, and a CV is just basically a more detailed resume. One of the differences is that a resume, you want to keep it to one page. You don't want it to spill over to a second page. Let's try to keep it brief and to the point. A CV is a little bit more detailed, and it's okay if it's 2 to even 3 pages long because it's giving a more detailed analytical look at your accomplishments and what you've done. Now, your book has a really good resume example on page 59. And also just some background reading information that I would like for you to read over. But I just kind of wanted to show you outside of the book some things that people have actually done and what was good and what was bad and maybe what could be improved and whatnot. So this right here is an example of kind of what not to do. It's okay if you want to use kind of like a header type thing or whatnot. You don't want it to be too terribly flashy, but this is not bad. You definitely want to make sure that you're including personal information like address, email, how people can get in contact with you and whatnot. But you definitely want to make sure that you are putting things, more than one criteria on there. This particular person only kind of put their experience on there. And with a resume, you kind of want to maybe put your education along with your experiences and then some skills or activities that you've done that kind of shows what you can do and what you can offer any company. If you were looking for a very specific job or internship or whatnot, or your objective, if you're handing your resume to people to do a letter of recommendation for you, your objective is going to be, hey, I'd really like to get into college, just put in a nice formal way. So here they only put their experience. And two, they also used a really weird font. You want to kind of try to keep your fonts classic, Times New Roman, something very similar to that one. Because when potential employers see a resume and it's written in kind of one of the fancier fonts, they kind of automatically groan on the inside. I do have several friends who work in human resources, and they've told me that they have sorted who gets the job interview based off of the cover letter and resume. And so, like, if you turn in a resume something that's kind of like this, the experience that's good. But considering that that's all that they have and that doesn't really give a good picture of who this person really is, this person honestly probably would not get an interview. So we definitely need more information. So let's take a look at a different one. Now this one did a great job. It has a header here. I like how it's kind of divided into different things like contact information, has a LinkedIn profile. That is something that, especially if you turn in an electronic resume where you can include links and stuff like that, that would be a great thing to include. This one, she also included education, where she got her degree. If you do not have a degree yet, like for all of you, your Siegel High School students, you can put your projected graduation date. And two, since all of you are dual enrollment students, I would definitely make sure that you included your MTSU experience in your education. She has a very clear career objective. She says soon to be marketing graduate, which for those of you, when you go to college, that is perfectly fine to say, I don't have my degree yet, but I'm a soon to be graduate in this field, and this is what I want to do. Same thing if you're applying for an internship, point out, hey, I'm graduating in 3 years with this degree, and so I'd like to get more experience in this field, and that's why I'm applying for this particular internship. Relevant courses is a great thing to include. especially again for an internship. Let's say you are doing an internship in engineering, then you might want to put specific courses that would show, hey, I've have a lot of experience in this and I would really like to show this. In this particular one, she's looking for something in marketing, so she's listing the marketing courses that she's taken and the skills, things that you can do, guys. Seriously, include that you're good at PowerPoint and Word and social media, things like that. You know, sometimes students think, oh, I don't have any skills whatsoever. What if you're a fast typer? Put how many words per minute you can type. That's something that you could include potentially. If you're really, really good at social media, you know, sometimes my brother just got a job in finance, and actually one of his jobs is to run their social media platforms. And so that was actually a selling point for him, that he was very skilled in social media, because some older people, they just aren't. So that could be a potential skill to list. But they included work experience, projects, you know, so overall this is a really, really good resume. And guys, just so you know, when you go into Word, they do have resume templates that you can use. So that's something that you could actually do, is go into Word and actually use one of the templates and use it just to kind of make it a little bit more, I don't want to say blingy, but you know, just a little bit better to see. So you can do resume. Thousands of online templates right there. And all I did was search for resumes. And you can pick one of these and use it to help create yours. So it's really nice. You just like, here's a columns resume, just kind of very similar to the one that we just saw. And the only thing you'd have to do is go through there and delete that information and put in your own. And it's a great way to create your own resume. Now, cover letters. You might not always be asked to do a cover letter, but again, here's one that is probably not the best. To whom it may concern, which is fine. That's a great way to address it. My name is blank, and I'm interested in, I am an interested applicant in the position currently available. My skills consist of being great at multitasking, great with computers, patient, bilingualism, fluent Spanish, reliable, and having very flexible hours. I'm 24 years old, which is why I think this position is a great fit for me. I've attached my resume in the hopes of being considered for it. I'm available weekdays and weekends and any time, nights. So right away in this first paragraph, I see a lot of things that I'm kind of like, one, always mention the specific position that you're applying for, because sometimes companies have multiple positions open, and if they don't know what exactly you're applying for, they're like, well, we've got 5 positions. Which one are you talking about? My skills consist of being great at multitasking. Yeah, I would leave that out. Most people can multitask. Great with computers. Well, what specifically can you do with computers? Can you do Excel? Can you do Word? Do you know how to code? I don't know. Patient, again, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, I feel like that's completely unnecessary. The bilingualism is really cool. Like, if you can speak a second language, that is fantastic. Flexible work hours, that is something to be considered. You don't have to mention your age. I'm 24 years old, which is why I think the position is a great fit for me. That, you know, most positions are great for any age. So again, probably take that out. Having your availability is a good thing to include in a cover letter, just so that way they know when they can contact you potentially about this job. But yes, that's... So yeah, you need to be very specific when it comes to a cover letter, and making sure that you are, you know, just addressing things thoroughly. And again, your book has some, they call it an application letter, which is basically a cover letter. And that example is on page 56 of your book. And again, go back and read that one. But let me show you another one real quick that did a pretty good job with theirs. This one, they chose to use a header, which is cool. Sorry, it's a little bit fuzzy. They chose to go very formal with the typing of it. Like, a lot of times you would want to include who it is you're addressing specifically. Yes, it's going to go to a human resources person, but if you can do a little bit of research and find the actual person who is going to be in charge of hiring you, it's a great thing to include in the address of the person that you are writing to. Basically, this one has the very specific job ID. This is the job I'm applying for. Like, especially if you've applied for something online, they'll have like job listing and they'll have a number. But if they don't, let's say you're just applying to Crumble Cookie to have a job for the summer, you can say, cashier at Crumble Cookie for whatever. So this one has a very good, it's short, sweet, and to the point. They could have included just a little bit more, but for the job that they're applying, this is perfectly fine. In May 2011, I will graduate from Georgetown University with a BS in economics and a minor in quantitative finance. My strong work ethic is evident from the fact I have served as president of the student council concurrent with my academic studies, as well as paid summer internships at Goldman Sachs in 2010. These experiences have enabled me to gain a realistic view of the demands and challenges of the business world. My qualifications for the business analysis position, again, being very specific with what they're applying for, include, and they talk about some of their skills. They probably could have used a few more skills, like maybe at least one more. Again, you don't want your cover letter or your application letter to be too terribly long, but it's okay also to brag on yourself just a little bit. So maybe just a little bit more information to maybe fill out that full page. With the combination of these academic and professional experiences, I'm looking forward to discussing the opportunity to join your organization. Your consideration of my qualifications for the business analyst position is appreciated, and I look forward to the next steps in the hiring process. You want to try to sell yourself. It's really hard for students when you talk about cover letters and resumes to an extent, because we're always taught to kind of be humble and not, put ourselves out there too much. This is one time where you want to be just a little bit aggressive and brag on yourself by saying, look, I've done all these great things. These are the things that I have done in order to get this type of position, and I am worthy of it. You also want to be very polite and very acknowledging that, this is a process for them too, and that they are considering you, and thank them for that. And show that you're appreciative for them even looking at your cover letter and resume, and that you look forward to hearing from them. And guys, here's another little hint that can actually go a really long way. Let's say you do your cover letter, resume, you get the interview. Awesome. As soon as you get done with that interview, write the person who interviewed you a thank you note. You can, now it used to be considered, handwrite it. That's the way to go. An email probably would suffice in most cases. I will say, especially if the person's a little bit older, they are going to really appreciate a handwritten thank you note that has been mailed the day that you interviewed to them. It just goes a really, really long way. It's those little things that can really help you get that internship or that job that you really would like. So for your assignment for this week, I'm not going to have you do a cover letter or an application letter, but I do want you to attempt a resume because that's something that could be very useful to you as you're asking people to write these letter of recommendations for scholarships. So if you have any questions or concerns, make reference to your book. Your book has got some really, really good examples in there of both of these types of genres of writing. But two, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out and I will be glad to help you.